Yemenis, I mean, of course, Yemenis. We have never seen each other like face to face. Ended up meeting with this guy. So this guy is now my husband. Either I'm gonna have in this country one of my best 3 months in here, or it's gonna be one of my worst months in here. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you guys could see by the title, today I will be talking about my experience in the Saudi Arabia. Before I go ahead and start my actual experience, I do wanted to give you guys a little background information of how I actually end up going to Saudi Arabia. Just to give a little background information, I am from Uzbekistan. I came to the United States about like 10 to 11 years ago with my family. I did like whole high school and college in here. In my early college years, about 3.5 and 4 years ago, I ended up meeting with this guy. So this guy is now my husband. Yeah, I met with him in my early college years. Like I said, the time like I went to college, he was already graduated, but I knew him through a mutual friend. So that's a whole another story. My husband was born and raised in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He's a national of Yemen. His parents are Yemenis, and his parents, my in-laws, been living in Saudi Arabia for the past 40 years. They had like 6 of their children in Saudi Arabia, and my husband was the youngest one. He came to United States from the Saudi Arabia. After we got married, of course, we always had this intention or goal of us eventually visiting Saudi Arabia one day, because his entire family still resides over there. Last year of 2021, we finally decided to go. By that time that we went, we were already married for 3 years. At that point, I haven't met with any of my husband's family members. Although, like, you know, we always like talk on WhatsApp, like call, FaceTime, like they already know me and I already know them. It just, we have never seen each other like face to face. So before I go ahead and talk about my actual experience over there, I thought that I could just give you a little bit more details regarding like the visa process. I mean, obviously I needed to get a visa, so I'll speak about my own experience as an American citizen and how that I was able to get the visa. I believe Saudi Arabia opened their like travel tourism 2 or 3 years ago. I heard that now it's like very easy, especially if you're American. It's very easy to apply for a visa. Although I didn't get no travel visa, my in-laws, like my father-in-law, sent it over like a whole documentation requesting for us to go. I technically have family visa here in New York City, so we ended up going to the Saudi embassy, and it was actually faster than I thought. They have like a bunch of documents they asked. After I gave them a couple of documents they asked me, they just asked me to drop my passport. Basically, they're just gonna put the visa on, and they were like, it's gonna be prepared in within a week. And I believe I ended up like picking that up in the 2 days. It was done like literally so fast. Just keep in mind that for the visa there is a little fee, not a lot. There's like $100,000 some kind of change. Now that we spoke about a little bit of my background and as well as the visa process, now we could actually dive into my actual experience in Saudi Arabia. I know one of the biggest, I think, concerns or the spoke about statement is how the Western media portrays Middle Eastern countries. We have heard that like so many times. I personally wasn't really like afraid or felt some type of way of going to Middle Eastern countries. It might be that, like, you know, I am also like born in a Muslim country, or at least like, you know, people around me always was Muslim, so I never had an actually bad impression of Saudi Arabia. Only concern like specifically I had regarding going there was obviously the language barriers. You might be like, oh, you live with your husband for 3 years, like you still haven't learned this and that. Yeah, like that is kind of true, but I do have an excuse because, you know, living in America, it's so hard for me to learn Arabic because everyone's literally speaking in English. Like, it's very hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even my husband, like if he tries to talk to me in Arabic, he's just gonna jump into English. I mean, it's English in here, so it was really hard for me to learn. Fast forward, we're already in Saudi Arabia, and since I spoke about the language, so let me just finish with my language statement. So for the language, for the first week, like, it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was a hard, I knew like a couple of words, obviously, like hi, how are you, but it's definitely not enough. And especially Saudi Arabia is somewhere like just newly developing, meaning that you know, yeah, many people like in our age, in our 20s or maybe early 30s, they speak some sort of English. But let's just be honest, so like some older people, like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they don't really speak English. And my husband had like a huge family over there, and maybe like only like 10% of them like speak English, or maybe 20%. And that's not even enough. Anyways, the first week was, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the hardest weeks for me, just because of the language. Like I wasn't able to like communicate like really well. But I will say that people were like so supportive, especially my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-laws. They were like extremely supportive of me. Like, they kind of like encouraged me to learn. And my husband was like telling me, now that you're here, you should take the opportunity and learn the Arabic. I was like, you know what, it's really time for me to like have a conversation one-on-one with myself, because either I'm gonna have in this country one of my best 3 months in here, or it's gonna be one of my worst months in here because I do not speak Arabic and I cannot join the people, you know. Learning new language is a whole different skill. Like, can you imagine like you going somewhere else, you ended up learning their language? It's a very cool thing. I decided that I will try my best to learn it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I will catch some words that we use daily. If you don't speak Arabic, I suggest you to not to worry so much and stress yourself out, but instead, like when you go to any kind of Middle Eastern countries, try to take like some kind of courses, or like, you know, just try to speak with like family or neighbors, because it's very easy to catch words when you're actually surrounded by the people who speak in the same language. Although I didn't take like no courses, I actually just learned just speaking with the children meaning that my husband's nieces and nephews. I was talking with them. It was so easy for me to communicate with his nieces and nephews. And I remember one time they were teaching me the Arabic alphabet, and I think I memorized the alphabet maybe like in 10 minutes, because I was, you know, I was talking with the kids, and I actually ended up teaching them the English, and they started teaching me the Arabic. Another way that I learn is by, you know, communicating with my sister-in-laws and my mother-in-laws. For example, like if I were to go to kitchen, you know, every time I walk in, like I ended up learning like maybe 5 new words. Those are one of the like strategies, like just like try to catch the words that people are using mostly. And definitely I will say try to like I have on my notes, I always write it down. Any new word that I use, I just write it down. Fast forward, after 3 months, I was so surprised of how much the words that I learned, and by using those words that I learned, I was able to make like a whole sentence or make a communication. And I'm really happy that I actually decided to go out from my comfort zone and try to, you know, fit in and learn their language. Now that we finished about the language, I do kind of dive in and speak about some main points and things that really surprised me or fascinated me about Saudi Arabia. First things first, I do want to speak about their cities really quick, and Jeddah being the first one, just because Jeddah was the place that I spent like most of my time in, and my husband was born in that city. One of the things that really fascinated me about Jeddah is how diverse it is. I have never imagined like me going from here that I will actually like see like a lot of nationalities in there. Nationalities like Yemenis, I mean of course Yemenis, like Somalis, Sudanese, like a lot of African countries, and as well as the Asian countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Indians. Of course I was really fascinated, because I always used to think that Saudi Arabia is like a very like conservative country, and it's very like hard to get in there, like be settled in there. I saw all these different nationalities. I was really shocked. Speaking of diversity and nationalities in Jeddah, I could also speak about the food. Since there are different nationalities, of course you could find different types of restaurants. If you didn't watch my Saudi Arabia vlogs, you could check them out. And also on Instagram, I was posting like a bunch of content over there. And one of my favorite things over there is of course the food, specifically in Jeddah, since there's a lot of like diversity. You could also find a very diverse restaurants as well. They have their Saudi Arabian authentic food. They have of course the Yemeni food. They have Indian food. They have Indonesian food. They have like so many stuff. And of course, not to mention the al-bake. Al-bake is their favorite fast food places that not like any country has, but the Saudi Arabia, it's very popular. I loved eating al-bake. Definitely 10 out of 10. If you're worrying about the food, don't worry. The American fast food places like McDonald's, Burger King, they even have Domino's. They have like a bunch of like American restaurants. I believe they have the Cheesecake Factory, and they have Starbucks. And speaking of Starbucks, Saudi Arabia in general is known for their coffee and their coffee shops. If you ever go into Jeddah, they have so many coffee shops. You should definitely check them out. Coffee shops are actually one of my favorite things. And next point that I quickly wanted to mention is, of course, the dress code and how to dress up. If you are going into Saudi Arabia from countries like United States, where they lack a lot of modest clothes. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, living in America, it's so hard to find the modest clothing, especially like a really good material type of abayas. I will suggest you that you shouldn't really focus on buying a abaya in here. As long as if you have one, I will promise you that will be enough for you. And if you are going to Saudi Arabia, I would suggest you to actually save your money and buy it from over there. First of all, you're gonna be finding the best materials of abayas and also the really good price. I know that like Saudi Arabia now is like changing a lot of changes, a lot of restrictions have been lifted, and they have new rules like updating all the time. So I will actually suggest you to like, there's a website that you could check out their latest updates regarding how to dress up. By the time that I went, it was really easy. Like a lot of the dress code restrictions were lifted, meaning that you don't need to have a head scarf if you choose not to wear. As far as the abaya itself, you could wear any kind of abayas. You could wear them open, you could wear them closed, as long as your body shape tightness is not really exposing to the outside, you're really fine. But I personally myself, I chose to wear abaya. I mean, I love abayas, honestly. I mean, I really wanted to like really wear it and really experience it. You know, I feel like even though now they don't require abayas or to wear modest clothes, I think wearing abaya was like part of like, you know, just respecting their culture beliefs, of course their religious perspectives, because considering that Saudi Arabia is a very conservative country, and also considering that there's two holy cities like Mecca, Medina. One thing that I really found out staying over there for 3 months is that the more that you respect their culture, I feel like the more respect that you receive. Since I mentioned about abaya, I do want to give you a little tip as well. Like I said, like you don't need to buy a lot of abayas. The reason why I said it, because the abayas are the things that you're gonna be wearing pretty much only in the outside, because once you enter the home, like you really don't need to. I will also suggest you to pack like a regular clothes that we wear on daily basis, like a blouses, like a jeans, and some cute dresses, because you will need them. And especially like if you have a family over there, you have like female cousins, like the aunts, like the mother-in-laws, like you're gonna be like going out or spending time at home. I know now that Saudi Arabia is very changing, it's very developing, and still changing up their rules. And I will say women and the men are like still a little bit segregated, and most of the events that happens is like most of the time, of course, the men is in the other side and the women are in the other side. Now that I think about it, it is very good, because when you're in the woman's side, you could actually wear whatever you want. You don't have to worry about like wearing modest clothes or covering your hair or covering your body. Yeah, like you could just wear whatever. I was in a lot of events, parties. I had so much fun with like only girls parties. I feel like, you know, like you're more comfortable with like only girls, and you could just wear whatever you want. And in general, girls like do have a really good fun. Like you dance, the music, you eat, like it's like so much fun. Like from the outside, it's very like, you know, easy to say that, oh, women are very oppressed, they just have to follow what others say and they have to cover up. You only know when you actually go and experience that women actually have a really good time and they have a fun time. They really enjoy. I have spoken to many women over there, and they have actually told me that wearing abaya, like a black abaya, and also covering their face is actually their option. At the moment, like I said, Saudi Arabia does not require those kind of stuff anymore, but women themselves like do choose to wear abaya and cover their face. Just a reminder that, you know, every time you see a woman like that, just consider that it might be their own will to cover themselves up, and don't be just tricked by the media that if a woman wears a abaya, like they don't have their beauty or they don't have anything like that. All I gotta say is that woman over there is extremely beautiful. Now I want to quickly mention about the safety in the Saudi Arabia. I actually did not expect how safe it will be, because there was a times that I was walking around by myself. I was going to my family's house by myself. I mean, yeah, they're not that really far away. It's only like 2-3 blocks maybe, but it's still like maybe like I was going to grab a coffee to a coffee shop. I sit in the taxi, like the Uber, by myself, and I really felt how peaceful and how safe it is. And especially for the women over there in Saudi Arabia are highly respected, meaning that like if I'm by myself and if I'm trying to go to elevator and there's like, you know, a bunch of guys or men waiting for a elevator, they actually, you know, give me my time and then they let me go first, and when I am in, they don't actually come in either. So I feel like that's kind of a form of respect that they show to women. Next thing that I would like to talk about is the weather. I know, like the weather, if you followed me on Instagram, like I was complaining a lot about the weather, especially like if you go to Saudi Arabia during the hot season, like June, July, August, even maybe September. September kind of comes down, especially in Jeddah, since Jeddah is like a very dry. It's like it gets like a really hot. I remember when we just landed, it was like somewhere in July, and it was like over 100 degrees. Mind you, we landed like maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we came out from the airport, and I felt that like the humid came to my face like that. I was like, oh my god, that humid, it's not a good feeling at all. I think the weather is one of the things that I really hated the most, because like I was like literally sweating wet. Another thing to mention is that if you have anything white, please don't wear it to Saudi Arabia. Honestly, I remember buying this new Air Force One. It was a brand new and it was all white. And I remember I wear it, not so much maybe in Jeddah, but I remember wearing it in Taif. Taif is this mountain place. And my brand new shoes, white shoes, turned it into dark brown because of the sand. Yes, it was such a painful, because it was a brand new shoes. I was really mad, and I promised myself that especially if I have anything new that is white color, I will never wear that to Saudi Arabia. So just a little tip, if you're especially going to mountains or the sand, please make sure to wear your dirty shoes, and that has to be like some sand color, like black or nude, because the white is not good at all. And if you ever want to visit Saudi Arabia, Jeddah specifically, I will suggest you to go like in the early spring or in the fall time, because their weather, like I heard, is like amazing. It's like a really good. Now your final part of the video. For this final, I do really want to mention some of my favorite things that I have done in the Saudi Arabia. So the first thing is first, of course, the Umrah. Doing Umrah was my first time, and also visiting Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's grave in Medina. Those were like one of my favorite moments. I mean, of course, for each, if you're a Muslim, you already know that like a Muslim's goal is to go to visit once in their lifetime at least, to go to city, like a holy cities like Mecca, Medina, and go and visit them. And I was really honored to go and do Umrah. Also meeting with my husband's family, like the father, mother, and his entire family. Of course, that was my first time and my best times as well. Speaking of the family, I was vlogging so much over there. If you didn't check out my vlogs, please make sure to check them out. Fourth thing that I really loved over there is the food, of course. The fifth thing that I don't think I really talked about it, but one of my favorite thing is the oud. If you want to buy a oud, I feel like Saudi Arabia is the place that you should buy the oud. I do not know where the oud was originated, but I know that in Saudi Arabia you could find a really good ouds / bukhors, like if you are like a burn butter in your home. So they're really good. I will suggest you if you're into that kind of sense. Definitely when you go to Saudi Arabia, check them out. Okay, you guys, so that is it for today's video, because I really do not want to make it very long. I kind of like mentioned like very like a big points and very important points of visiting Saudi Arabia. And if you have a more depth and more detailed question, please let me know on the comment section or in my Instagram, on my DMs. I will definitely answer, and maybe most likely I will make the part 2 for my Saudi Arabia experience. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Like I said, please check my other Saudi Arabia content here in YouTube, and also follow me on Instagram to see some content that I posted in Saudi Arabia. And please make sure to subscribe, like this video, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!